Is your brand focused on sustainability? Well, I sure hope it does because it's one of the biggest trends out there. You see, this is the new reality we live in, a clear, strong consumer demand for sustainable products. 73% of millennials and 62% of Gen Z buyers prefer to buy from sustainable brands and are willing to pay the premium for that. Now that is the definition of a real revolution. By the way, sustainable consumption has become the new standard for shopping because people really care about the planet. It's way more than just a business trend. However, sustainability has a problem. Why? Because it is gated from consumers and retailers. It is hidden. Why it's hidden? Because it's something that you can't touch, you can't smell, you can't see, you can't feel. It's intangible. So how can you sell something that you can't touch or feel? Well, apparently, there is a way. To understand this way, first let's see what the experts have to say. Why is there such a growing demand for sustainability? Well, take a look at this WWF report. In the last 50 years, we have lost more than 68% of our wildlife population. The fact of the matter is, we are losing our nature. And this reality is pushing everyone to come up with new solutions. Second, if you take a look at this McKinsey report, which may be boring to most of us, it's definitely worth paying attention to because there's a whole new generation out there that thinks and behaves very differently. You see, this generation really cares about ethical consumption, or in other words, sustainability. They are the future and they are changing our cultural priorities. This is way more than just a trend. It's a real need based on a new way of thinking led by a new generation. Now, we have new challenges and a whole new generation that really cares about these challenges. Now that we understand the reason for the growing demand for sustainability, our problem just got bigger because how can we sell something that is invisible, that everyone wants, and so many claim to offer? Well, Patagonia is a great example. Sustainability is core to their business, so we said, hey, why not learn from the best? Because after all, even great artists shamelessly steal. So let's start. How does Patagonia sell their sustainability? You and I are now going to take a look at their sales and marketing channels. Welcome to Patagonia's homepage. Now let's slow down the pace a little bit so we can take a look at what Patagonia is doing to sell their sustainability. First of all, notice the beautiful pictures and the stories that they share. It's not so much about categories or anything like that, but it's about the fundamentals. What do they care about? The people, the stories. And if we scroll further down, they're starting to talk about the care for the planet. What exactly are they solving for? They also talk about the sport that they care about, and of course, their values. What do they stand for as a company? Now ask yourself, what didn't we see here when we went through this page, this homepage? Well, we didn't see a single product. Think about how revolutionary that is. And if we go to their Instagram, you will see exactly the same approach. Instead of just showing you products, there are stories here and pictures. Some of them are difficult to watch, but they don't care. They talk about what they care about, the planet, athletes they support. They write statements like we're all screwed. They show you the land, they show you animals. They even show you the ugly side of what we do to the planet in terms of damaging it. They talk about sustainability, and they don't even shy away from being political. You can say what you want to say, but it's very interesting to see a company calling you to vote for something. Now, Patagonia didn't stop there. They even went one step further and created a whole page dedicated for activism around the environment. In this page, they can show you more information about their movement. They basically invite you to join their movement. There's even a movie here about indigenous lands that you can watch. And they talk to you about the most risky elements and conflicts that they see in the world, how we're taxing ourselves, and eventually how they're linking sports with activism. Now that is one amazing revolutionary approach, and that is how Patagonia is selling sustainability. Let's even take a look at their ads. Again, it's the same contrarian narrative. You clearly know what Patagonia cares about. It's very different than anything else out there. They're not shying away from making political statements. They're choosing a side and bluntly labeling the other side. They're pushing people to challenge the status quo, constantly educating and provoking. And while it's the product that's eventually being sold, it's never ever about the product. You see, while everyone else is screaming for attention, talking about themselves and trying to sell your product, Patagonia is doing something very different. They're creating a tribe, a movement, and that is the best form of marketing out there. Now, Patagonia does that by connecting people with their values and their belief system. Their branding efforts are very simple, and they openly declare it. They just tell the world who they are. They're not selling you products. So, how to sell sustainability? I think the answer is clear now. You gotta tell stories, but about what? Stories about values, about the change you're trying to lead. When you tell these stories, make sure they are entertaining and educational. Don't just throw dry facts at your audience, because your goal is to build a community, a movement, a tribe. And to do that, you need to make a stand for something. Think how you want to impact the world. In fact, here are a few questions you can ask yourself in order to learn how to sell sustainability. Start with your values. What's your why? Why did you start this business? What does sustainability mean for you and for your business? What stories can you tell about your sustainability and about your why? Now, when you think through that, think how you share those stories on your website, email, and even social media. Because your goal is to build a community, right? So what is that community or movement organized around? What is the mission of the community? What is the stand that you're making? Now, I know what you're thinking now. You're probably saying to yourself, oh, but I don't have enough money to produce content at that level. I'm not Patagonia. Well, it doesn't matter. Do what you can with what you have. Remember that all great companies, including Patagonia, came from very humble beginnings. Now, before we part ways, if you want to learn more about how to sell sustainability, there is a list of more questions and actionable things you can do. Feel free to email me at elad.cohen@sapia.co. I'll be happy to share with you more tips and tricks. Thank you very much. See you soon.